Good morning, everybody. Wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
In Provincetown. This week featuring
Wake up, wake up.
Can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Make it strong, please. Hey. Ho. Hey.
Wake up, wake up.
Ho. No, really, can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Ooh, it's 9 o'clock. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, April 7th. And this is Wake Up in Provincetown. I'm Bob Keary.
I'm Harrison Fish.
And thank you for waking up in Provincetown. Before we start the show, I think we have to say something right off the top. The opinions expressed herein are solely those of the two hosts.
Yeah.
We do not represent the opinions of our sponsors. We do not represent the opinions of
Anyone except for ourselves.
anyone but the two of us. And sometimes we're not even expressing our own opinions. Sometimes I'm expressing his opinion. And sometimes...
Sometimes I'm very much dulling the edges of my real opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just remember, it's just the two of us up here talking.
Yeah.
So
How was your week?
that being said, my week was, am I allowed to say this? It was a shit show. Am I allowed to say shit show here?
Sure. I mean, it's not like it's town meeting. You can swear.
Oh, then it was motherfucking bullshit.
Yeah, there we go.
My week was motherfucking bullshit. How was your week?
Interesting.
Really? Why? What happened?
I went to the Tin Pan 10th anniversary party, which was a lot of fun.
Congratulations to
Yeah.
Jack Kelly and Paul Melanson. 10 years at Tin Pan Alley.
And
Huge
also,
achievement.
Yeah, congratulations on a really fun party for
That was
a
great.
Tuesday in April.
Music
So
in the
much
front,
fun.
music in the back.
Yeah.
Suede was up there singing with both sets of
She was
musicians.
like, fine, I'll sing.
I know, don't make me sing. It was great fun.
Yeah, it was tons of fun.
And it was like the Redden opening parties of old, where you see people that you haven't seen all winter. Everybody's like, the people are like blossoming like flowers in the spring,
Yeah.
coming back out like mole people blinking into the sun. Great fun.
Yeah.
What else did you do this week?
Trump got indicted this week.
Who?
Former President Donald Trump.
Oh,
30 counts?
35 now, I think it's up to. I don't know. He did?
Yeah.
Because of Stormy Daniels?
Yeah. It's just bizarre to me that, like, of all the things, that's what's going to get him.
I don't
or
think
that's what might
that's
get
the
him.
beginning. I mean, there's a bunch more possible potential indictments coming from other states and other jurisdictions for other reasons. More serious charges than just this.
Can't wait. I did read that he is, like, we all know he's running for president again in 2024, and that he would be allowed to be in prison and still be president.
You can?
Like, he could run the country from prison.
Not if he's a convicted felon, no.
No? Okay. Great.
I like that we have to think about that. Like, can he?
Yeah.
He's also sort of their presumptive nominee, eh?
I
say
don't
they.
know.
I mean our. I'm a we people and you're a you people. Just for the record.
Oh, I fully know after this week that I'm a you people.
You people without
Yeah.
real jobs. You people who merely rent and hope to live in a place that you can't afford.
Yeah, right?
We people just don't understand that.
Right.
Sorry, what were you talking about?
What were we talking about?
You were talking about Donald Trump.
Yeah, whatever. He got indicted. Great news.
Ha.
Yeah.
I mean, boo. Which side of this am I on?
I also I was in Boston just for a day or two this past weekend, and I went to Symphony Hall to see the Haydn and Handel program, which was really phenomenal. I went with Joao and Andrew Sharanian, and it was tons of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Culture.
Culture.
Not just an underwear party for you this weekend.
I was in my underwear.
At Boston Symphony Hall.
Yeah, yeah.
They have a clothes check there?
They do. It's really
You
good.
went to the coat check and gave them all your clothes?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like,
They're like, he must be friends with Bobby Kelly.
Right. Anything else you got up to this week?
I went to town meeting. Were you there?
I was at town meeting.
You were?
It was lively. It was pretty wild if you weren't there.
It was very wild.
I mean, I've only been to 2 town meetings now. That was my second one. A lot of people said that this one was extra wild, but last one was pretty wild too, so.
Wait, which one? Last year you're talking about?
Yeah.
You didn't go to any of the outdoor pandemic ones?
No.
Huh. What happened last year that was so
I don't think it wasn't very contentious. A lot of people were speaking like it was going to be contentious, and then none of it was.
Right. There seemed to be a consensus last year around housing.
Yeah.
And this year there seemed to not really, I mean, I don't know, 270 versus 170 about postponing 3 articles that were lumped together beforehand. I don't know that that's a consensus either way, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
We'll never know. It would have been nice to have gotten the chance to talk about them, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are.
Even though I voted no because I'm a we people and you're a you people.
I think a lot of people are frustrated at the fact that the articles got presented as a group. The writers of the articles presented them one after the other.
Those writers of those articles, they think they're smart, but I'm smarter than both of them.
Ooh.
Somebody actually said that night.
Yeah.
Out loud into a mic. You both think you're pretty smart. I'm smarter than both of you. That's where Provincetown decorum in a public setting has gotten to.
Yeah.
And that is very sad to me.
Basically, the articles were presented, and then I think it was the first or second person that got up to speak made a motion to postpone said articles, which then you're no longer allowed to speak on the articles, but you have to speak on the postponement, which I think pacified a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't want to talk about it at all, clearly.
Yeah.
270 of them. And I mean, a lot of those 270 people, not a lot, some of the ones that I talked to, were like, listen, I'm actually on the side of doing something about this, but, you know,
It didn't feel
I
right.
wish that these two people had worked together to combine their 3 articles into one. That was a sentiment that I heard a lot of.
Yeah, I also think a pretty damning part of the articles was when town council got up to say that there was legal loopholes and that the town will probably get sued because they weren't on the up and up.
Well, I just also think it's a little bit jumping the gun to stand there and say, if all 3 of these pass, we're in trouble. We haven't voted on a single one of them yet. Like, can we just have a minute to talk about them first before you talk everyone out of talking about them?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's just how I feel. It's not how the Crown and Anchor feels or anyone else. It's how I feel.
My takeaway from it, I was like, I'm never upset with people who agree with me because they have a different perspective.
You mean disagree?
That's what I mean.
Okay.
I'm always upset when people agree with me. No, I'm never upset when people disagree with me because people have different perspectives, they have
Yeah.
different values, and that kind of never really bothers me. But I do find a lot of the conversation around these articles really changed my opinion about the community as a whole.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what
It
do you
just
mean?
isn't what I thought it was. You know what I mean? Just the way people spoke about
You people.
the you people stuff, the talk of people feeling entitled, because I think the whole conversation was regardless of which argument you were arguing, it was all about entitlement.
Right.
Yeah, and the way I thought this was a community that that had more of a respect for the people that provide services in this town. And from the conversations around these articles, I realized that is not the case.
Well, you know, I was talking to an old friend of mine who's been here longer than I have, and we were just sort of being wistful for the days when it felt like, and even if this wasn't true, it really did feel like Provincetown was sort of classless. Like everybody was, you know, you're at a party and there's a famous musician and a prize-winning author and a bartender and a busboy and a homeowner and a bunch of renters, and everybody's treating each other as sort of an equal.
I think that I felt that was true, and I guess through this is what I realized that is they treat you like an equal. But they don't actually have any respect for you.
Yeah, I think we went from being a classless town to a classless town. Like it's not classy to stand up and say you're the smartest person in the room to 450 of your peers. I guess certain people don't think they have peers. Again, just my opinion.
Yeah.
It was a sad display. I think it was the worst town meeting I've ever been to.
People were upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a we people, I'm not upset. I'm not still upset. I'm happy. Things went my way. What else happened in the
Yeah,
world?
I think that's good for town meeting.
Great.
Let's see. Oh, let's start with this one. So we've had Todd Flaherty on the show a couple times before to talk about his film Chrissy Judy. It has been rolling through the festival circuit over the past year. He's been traveling the world. He was recently in London. He was in Australia, Cleveland.
World tour.
Yeah.
When you get to the Cleveland Film Festival, you have made it.
Right. But he went to so many film festivals all around the world. And so the film was released in theaters this last weekend. You can see it in Palm Springs, San Francisco, LA, and New York. So if you're in any of those locations, grab a ticket. And this past Tuesday, it was released for video on demand, so you can purchase or rent it on all streaming services.
Did you buy it yet?
Not yet. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it, but I'm excited because I have only seen it in a very early cut before they had like music and the sound editing wasn't quite filmed, so I'm very excited to see it. It does currently have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wait till I get my hands on it. Just kidding. So your performance when you saw it, it hadn't been like color corrected or anything?
It's all in black and white.
Oh,
Yeah.
the whole movie's in black and white? Oh, I can't wait.
But it was great when I saw it. I'm excited to see the final cut. If you haven't seen it, it's incredible. Rent it, go see it in theaters. It's a story of kind of queer friendship and like platonic heartbreak. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a really beautiful movie.
The tagline is, what happens when your chosen family no longer chooses you?
Yeah. Bloop. Yeah, but gorgeous, rent it, buy it, do all the things.
We should have a viewing party
Yeah.
where we all individually buy it but still watch it together.
Okay, most of what else I got is news stories from around the world.
Let me know when you're going to start talking about basketball.
Do you want me to get it out of the way right now?
Go for it.
Okay. So this past week was the NCAA tournament, March Madness for the men, just the tournament for the women, because they decided that you can't call the women's tournament March Madness because it would damage the brand. This past final for the women's was the most watched final ever with 10 million viewers.
Wow.
Not unfortunately, but Caitlin Clark and the Iowa team, who was kind of the star of the tournament, they didn't pull it out in the final game. They lost to LSU, which did create a little bit of drama. So Jill Biden, it is tradition that the First Lady invites the winning team of the women's NCAA tournament to the White House, and she, in a press conference that she was at Monday morning, was like, "Oh, I'm going to invite the Iowa team to use."
It's not really what she said.
The initial report was that because they had such great sportsmanship, the Iowa team did lose. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, and of course, yeah, I'll invite the LSU girls of too."
No, what Jill Biden said was, it is tradition for the winners to come to the White House, but I really want to ask Joe to invite Iowa too because it was such a great game. She didn't mention the word sportsmanship. She didn't even consider not inviting the winning team. She just said, because this was such a historic game, 10 million viewers, I wish we could have them all, and people are dragging her for it.
Yeah.
Including you. Go, drag.
I'm reporting on a news story.
Okay.
So the star of the LSU team, Angel Reese, tweeted out the article saying that she had invited the Iowa team as well, with all caps, a joke. She's fairly upset. A lot of people are speculating that she invited this team, the Iowa team, and then is kind of, they felt they were deriding the LSU team because of some behavior that a lot of people were calling unsportsmanlike. While LSU was up in the game, Angel Reese specifically kept doing this, pointing to her ring finger kind of at Caitlin Clark, suggesting that a ring would be coming, and also doing this, which is a basketball thing,
Like, you can't see me?
I guess.
You can't see me?
I'm not quite sure.
I'm so fast you can't see me.
A lot of people
Hello, do
came.
you watch this or not? You can't guard me.
So
I'm a blur.
a lot of people were upset with Angel Reese for this unsportsmanlike behavior, and a lot of people were saying that this might be the impetus as to why the Iowa's team was invited, blah, blah, blah. And then a mega mix of Caitlin Clark doing it throughout the NCAA.
Doing the same stuff.
The exact same thing throughout the NCAA tournament. And so a lot of people are saying that when this white woman acts this way, it's fine, and then when this black woman acts this way, it's not okay. I'm not accusing Joe Biden of doing that, but that is the talk around this issue.
Caitlin Clark did say, she was like, only LSU should be going to the White House. I don't want to go. We lost. We're not supposed to be there. And Angel Reese did come out and say, I don't want to go to the White House now anyway. I would rather go hang out with the Obamas. Who wouldn't? I would rather go hang out with the Obamas too.
I think it's one of those things that, like, because it's tradition, if you win, you get to go. I do kind of feel like the winner should get to go, and you don't get to go because you didn't win.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the thing. That's my take on it. Also, the men's March Madness, my hometown team won.
Really?
Yeah,
Don't they always win?
No, I mean, they're often talked about like with not as much respect as they deserve. Like I just read an article where it literally started, the UConn men's team is doing pretty well, a program that is constantly overshadowed by their women's program. And it's like, the women's program is incredible, but the men's program has, I mean, even before this past tournament, had won more NCAA tournaments than all teams except for 5. And now they've won more tournaments than all teams except for 4.
But the UConn women's team is even more dominant?
Yeah.
Go ahead, UConn.
Yeah, I mean, UConn is the only school that's ever won it in both men's and women's in the same year, and they've done it twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we done talking about basketball
We can be
until
done talking
March
about
of
basketball.
2024?
But like, go UConn, watch women's basketball. Yeah, we're done with basketball. Okay.
It was all a dream.
Right.
I'm back. I'm awake.
Sad news from the drag community, and specifically the San Francisco drag community. Famed San Francisco drag performer Heklina passed away this past week. She was in London with Peaches Christ performing the show Mommy Queerest, which is obviously a riff on Mommy Dearest. They were performing that at the Soho Theatre in London, and I think, sadly, Peaches Christ was the person to find Heklina had passed. She is most notably known for starting the party Tranny Shack in the mid-90s in San Francisco. It was performed in Stud Bar starting in 1996, and it was a queer riff on political, social, racial, and gender controversies of the day. And it's known for being ahead of its time for having AFAB performers, drag kings, which like still is something around Drag Race that's talked about as not being so diverse.
What's AFAB?
Assigned female at birth. So it's like women performing as drag queens.
Okay.
She's also known for her performances as Dorothy in the onstage recreations of the Golden Girls parodies, which is a holiday tradition in San Francisco. The photo that I have up was taken by our friend Jose Alberto Guzman Colon, who has been a P-Town resident of the past, and I know that he's a good friend of Heklina, so our thoughts go out to you, Jose, and also all of the friends and loved and fans of Heklina.
A big inspiration for a lot of the people that we know.
Yeah. So the Tennessee drag ban, good news, a Tennessee judge who was a Trump-appointed judge decided, or temporarily blocked the Tennessee anti-drag law, saying that the wording wouldn't hold up to scrutiny, which I feel like was pretty obvious. It's like they wanted to ban gay men dressing up as women, but unless you're gonna say that, it's not gonna really hold up to scrutiny. And I'm sure they're itching to say that, but they kind of feel like they still can't.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly. But this past week was the CMT Awards, which was hosted in Austin, Texas by Kelsey Ballerini, who is a young country star. She opened the show by performing her song, If You Go Down, I'm Going Down Too. And what was really special,
hot.
yeah, the song's really good. I would suggest listening to it, especially after this. She decided to bring on a few Drag Race girls to perform the song with her in kind of a show of support of the drag community, especially within the country community, which is so tied to Tennessee and Nashville. She performed with the Queens Kennedy, Davenport, Manila Luzon, Olivia Lux, and Jan, a couple of my favorites. And we've had Olivia on the show before. A lot of country stars are coming out in support of the drag communities in regards to this bill. Reba McEntire said, "We've got a real problem in this country, and to be worrying about men wanting to dress up as a woman, God bless them to wear those high heels. I fear for them, but let's center our attention on something that really needs attention."
Like pickleball. I've always loved Reba McEntire.
Yeah. Other country artists like Maren Morris, you probably know her from what she did, which wasn't country, which is The Middle. You know that song?
Oh, yeah.
Baby,
Oh.
why don't you just meet me? It was a little overplayed, but still a good song. It's a bop. But she's mostly known for that, but she's also a country star. We spoke about her speaking out in support of trans people in the past, and she is once again speaking out in support of the drag community in regards to this bill. So
I just love that there's a country song about 69ing.
yeah, right?
Yeah, that's hot.
But I love that all these female country superstars are coming out in support of the gay community and also drag queens, because I feel like that's very important.
Thanks, Reba. Not only fancy, but classy.
Yeah.
Classy.
I love that. Let's go to the other end of that community, I guess. So there is a big controversy around Bud Light.
That it's still being made? Is that the controversy?
No, I love Bud Light.
Bud Light Lime.
I do love Bud Light Lime. So We spoke about Dylan Mulvaney, who is the trans woman that's been sharing her journey of, I don't want to say becoming a woman, but like her journey of living her life as a woman on TikTok. And we just talked about her having her 365 Days of Womanhood performance in New York. And in celebration of that, Bud Light sent her a case of beer that had her face on it, and she posted a video of her thanking them and drinking a little bit of the beer. And obviously that upset the far right.
Kid Rock.
Yeah, specifically Kid Rock. Kid Rock posted a video of him saying, it literally started, he's like, let me be as clear as I can possibly be about that issue. The camera pans, he has a giant gun, and he shoots 3 cases of Bud Light. Then he turns back to the camera, and he said, fuck Bud Light, fuck Anheuser-Busch, and have a really great day.
Once again, classy.
Like, what a crazy person.
Kid Rock has always been a crazy person.
Yeah, but what they're finding out is that when you think about light beers, it's Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite, the options, and then you're finding out that all of them have made vocal points about supporting the queer community. So
All the light beers?
yeah, so maybe they don't get to drink beer anymore.
Well, the queers like a low-cal option.
Yeah, well, the acronym for Bud Light, bitch, you don't like it, go home then.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You just made that up.
No, it's a TikTok thing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a TikTok thing.
In TV news, are you a fan of Doctor Who? Have you ever been?
Doctor Who?
Exactly.
No.
Okay. So Doctor Who.
Sorry.
So Doctor Who's a UK-based sci-fi show that has like a super big cult following. I guess the Doctor is like this person that it's almost like the Slayer. It gets like passed from person to person. I think they've had a bunch of actors play the Doctor over the years. It's been I think running for over 30 years, and they're going to have a new Doctor who's going to be the first Black Doctor and also the first queer Doctor. And joining the cast is also hometown favorite Jinx Monsoon.
Oh, fresh off her Chicago run.
Yeah, her sold-out Chicago run. I think
know.
it's the best 8 weeks Chicago has had in years.
I believe it. I
Yeah.
was there and every seat was full.
You saw it?
Oh, yeah.
How did I not know that?
When I went down to New York on like March 10th or whatever, we thought that her last show was going to be March 11th. So a couple friends of mine and I bought tickets for March 11th. And then the day after we bought our tickets, she was like, just kidding, I'm going to be there 2 more weeks. And we were like, we were really hoping for that last day moment.
Yeah.
But she was still amazing.
Yeah.
The whole thing was great. I've seen Chicago on Broadway twice. It's been on there so long. I went like 10 years ago and then Jinx. And this one was even better. Like it was so much fun.
Chicago also often gets talked about negatively because they do a lot of stunt casting.
Yeah.
But I think the values of the show, it's about someone having like this diluted idea of fame.
Right.
So like, yeah, have Pam Anderson be Roxy.
If it keeps going, you know.
Yeah,
Keep it
I'm
on
here
Broadway
for it.
forever.
I think it's one of those shows where you can kind of put yourself in the roles, but also bring a lot of yourself to it and like really add new flavor to it. So I love them bringing on all these kind of like kooky celebrities.
Me too.
Yeah. Speaking of celebrities, the Barbie movie released a slew of promo images this past week with a lot of the characters. A lot of people I didn't even know were going to be in it. Pictures of Hari Nef, Dua Lipa, Issa Rae, Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell's in
Yep,
it?
Michael Cera, America Ferrera, and Simu Liu. All had pictures. The pictures are really fun. And one thing I love about it is like all the women, they're like, this Barbie's a doctor. And the next one will be like, this Barbie's an attorney. And then all the men, it's like, he's just another Ken. He's just another Ken. But my favorite Barbie, and I have a picture of it, is Kate McKinnon.
What is
Who-
she?
So her tagline is, this Barbie's always in the splits. And you can tell by the image she's dressed up. Do you know that Barbie in the bottom, like in the daycare in the bottom of the toy bin that is like had all its hair cut off, marker drawn all over it? That's her character. So that's what they mean by this Barbie's always in the splits. Like that Barbie's always like looking crazy in the bottom. I love that, and I think that's perfect.
I didn't
for
know
Kate
Dua
McKinnon.
Lipa was an actress, but she's so gorgeous. She should play a Barbie.
Yeah, she's being the mermaid Barbie, I guess.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. I hadn't heard.
July 21st, right?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. And another image that was released that people are talking about is there's in the trailer there's a picture of Barbie putting her shoes on, and she like has, you know how Barbie feet are always in like heel form? She like walks around like that. I love that. I think that's all I've got. Let's do events for the weekend. We've got a lot of stuff going on. If you are in LA this weekend, the brewery is doing their LA launch for their beers. Friday night is going to be at the Eagle, and Saturday night is going to be at Precinct downtown LA. Yeah, so be sure to check that out if you love P-Town and you happen to be in LA. Show some support over there.
I just heard that Chrissy Judy's going to be at Water's Edge Cinema on April 14th.
No way. Who
Yeah.
told you that?
A viewer.
A viewer. I didn't realize that.
Thank you, viewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So we'll be able to see it right here. Maybe I'll wait to see that.
Yeah.
in
Let's see it on the
theaters.
big screen.
Yeah. And then at the Crown tonight is Drag Race. Joao Santos is at the piano bar, and also in the vault with Andrew Lennox DJing is Unholy Fridays. Saturday night is the public drag show. Saturday night is the public drag show. This one is going to support Gays Against Gun. The last one supported the ACLU Drag Fund. Also, Saturday night is a pajama party called Bad Bunny in the Wave Bar with DJ Lazarella. And then Sunday is drag brunch. It's called Say Gay Sundays. Do Say Gay.
Say Gay
Sundays.
Sunday.
Yeah. That's all I've got.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget, you guys, Leah Delaria is playing with the Mike Flanagan Quartet at the club for Easter. Oh, it's in the description. Great. There's a couple of tickets left for Sunday. They already sold out for Saturday.
No
so
way.
happy for Leah and Mike. That's going to be really fun.
Congratulations on your marriage.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
and
Leah
congratulations,
just got
Leah, on
married.
your nuptials.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
But it's going to be a fun weekend in Provincetown, so if you're not here, get here.
I have to tell you a couple more things, you guys. Last July, when my friend Raquel passed away, her family and friends organized a foundation to raise money for causes that were near and dear to Raquel's heart. And we found out this week that 3 year-round working renters were given rental assistance in Raquel's name to the tune of $1,700.
That's amazing.
So the foundation is now finally distributing those funds that we raised last year. The applicants for the girls field hockey player at Nauset High School, the applications were due April 1st. They're going to give a scholarship to a girls field hockey player because
That's awesome.
Raquel, of course, went to college on a field hockey scholarship. So if you've been paying attention or if you donated to that, thank you very much. God bless.
I feel like that is the exact perfect way to have Raquel's legacy live on.
Absolutely.
Housing, Provincetown.
Yeah. Like 3 workers who were like having trouble making rent or needed like a little bit of assistance, Raquel was able to give that to them.
That's amazing.
I know. So there are good people around. And also our friend Celeste Lacine, who is a lover and sometimes visitor of Provincetown, who is a co-founder of the Trevor Project, just received a 2023 Guggenheim Fellowship.
No way.
I know. Congratulations,
That's
Celeste.
amazing.
And also just started a new program called Future Perfect, which helps transgender youth share their stories.
I love that.
And like fully realize themselves.
Amazing.
So from the Trevor Project to Future Perfect, thank you, Celeste, for everything you've done, and congratulations on your Guggenheim Fellowship.
And come visit soon.
I know. I feel like I haven't seen her in years and years and years. Come visit.
Yeah.
She'll be here this summer.
Really? Excellent.
Yay.
We'll see you this summer. Let's get her on the show.
Yeah.
Awesome. Manifestation.
Should we weather?
Yes, here's our intrepid weather girl out in the elements. Ann Hutchinson, take it away.
Hello everyone, it's weather time and it's Easter weekend, so just pray for the weather and eventually it will come out of its tomb and be publicly known. But when the weather becomes publicly known, I hope it is ready for all the turmoil that comes with publicity. Nowadays, there's been so much squabble in the United States recently about, what is appropriate and what is not appropriate in public. For instance, drag queens have been told that they are not appropriate in public because their performances are inherently sexual. They've also been told that they're indoctrinating children. Now, I just want to say, I agree that sex should have nothing to do with children. I agree with that so much that I believe that when I have sex, a child shouldn't even show up 9 months later, okay? Now, call me old-fashioned, I developed that opinion back in the 1600s after my 15th pregnancy, but anyways, we never want to give just one side of the argument out here on Wake Up in Provincetown. So I've been doing some research into Bible Belt Christianity. So we're going to do a little bit of a Christian ritual today. We are going to do an Easter egg hunt. And don't worry, there is nothing sexual about a giant rabbit laying neon-colored chicken menstruation. There's nothing sexual about that. However, it does require a little bit of indoctrination to explain. Basically, there's a lot of antibiotic-riddled chickens out there laying neon-colored eggs. And then those chickens take the eggs in their beak and they stuff it up the bunny's ass. Okay, so it's not sexual, it's mechanical, like when you walk through the customs at an airport. But we're gonna get started. I hid all these myself. I know it looks a little dangerous out here. I just wanted the Anne Hutchinson Easter egg hunt to be the only Easter egg hunt where you could end it with a nail through your hand, much like Jesus. So anyways, always historically accurate here. So we're just gonna look through. If you see one, let me know. There's definitely egg on this, but listen, I'm only looking for one of them actually, the gold one, and that one has the biggest prize. So, let's see. Oh, yeah, I never decided to give that to anyone else. It was always going to be mine. So here it is. And let's see what we got. My goodness, I'm so excited. Oh, it's empty. Maybe it's like a shell. You can put it to your ear and you can hear, God in this case. No, I don't hear her. Hello, God, it's me. Whoever I am today. Nope, I don't know. I suppose this is a good message for children, no matter how hard you try to achieve something, there's nothing more, God bless America, than, having something lumped away and indefinitely postponed. Back to you, Bob and Harrison.
Thanks, Ann Hutchinson, for that astute and accurate weather report. Please welcome to the show Kristen Hatch, the director of the Provincetown Housing Authority. Kristen, thank you for making some time to be here. I know you're busy.
Nice to be here.
So, what's going on?
No, not much. Do you want to talk about housing?
I would
We
love to
do.
talk
Or
about
would you like to talk
I
about
would love to
Doctor
talk.
Who that's been running for like 60 years?
You're a fan.
One of the best sci-fi shows ever in the history of mankind.
How many Doctor Who's had? So there's always a who's going to be the next Doctor Who?
Right. There's been a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've seen them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doctor Who.
I love that. Who's your favorite? When should I start watching? Like, what's
1961. They used to do 54 episodes a year. You know what I mean?
More than one a
this
week?
8-episode thing is BS. I gotta tell
Damn.
you.
Oh, now it's down to how many?
Like 8,
Oh.
10. You know, it's crazy. What's up with that?
I get
It's hard to make a show once a week all year.
I bet.
Right.
So how long have you been with the Provincetown Housing Authority?
So I've been with them about 4 years, but I've been in town for a long time, and I've been working on housing for maybe 15 years,
Mhm.
more. Same thing every day. It's been happening. This is how it happens every time we don't do something.
Right.
That's sort of why we're here.
Do you have any feelings on what happened Monday night at Town Hall?
I was really encouraged by the fact that we're talking about, so when we talk about housing, we talk about creating year-round housing for town people, but they refer to it as having a hole in our bucket. So we have a hole in our bucket. And this is the first time we've ever talked about the hole in the bucket on
Right.
town meeting floor. Nothing ever passes the first time, so I was super encouraged by the citizens petition, and by the number of people who showed up about it.
Yeah.
Gotta have the conversation too. You have to. So, and yeah, messy town meeting, that's what it's all about. It's the most pure form of representative democracy. So, go Provincetown.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. I mean, I'm encouraged.
Me too.
Good.
And there's never a lot to be encouraged about with housing
Right.
because it's so expensive to build. So we need community housing. I don't know how we're gonna, or we need to decide we don't want to be a town.
Right.
We don't want children, we don't want old people, we don't want working class people, we don't,
She's talking about you.
if that's what we're saying,
Right.
then we can just stop building now,
It does seem like some of the talk around this article did support that. Like, people
I
not
think that's
wanting.
the recognition is, we
Yeah.
want a town.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling people leading up to the meeting. I was like, this boils down to one question to me. Do we want Provincetown to be a community of people? Or do we want Provincetown to be a collection of investment homes?
Right. With dorms across Route 6
Right.
for the people that
who
work in
are we?
coffee shops.
Right, who are
Are we
Yeah.
Provincetown, or are we a place where people come and feel safe? Do we understand that, the rich and the poor?
Right.
At the Housing Authority, I'm sorry about, we have a we're state housing, state subsidized housing mostly, right? So the Housing Authority owns 46 units of housing in town. We have Mo Shop, which is a 24 one-bedroom senior building. We have 9 scattered site family units. We have the Foley House, which is a 10-room, single-room occupancy, one of the first in the country for people living with HIV. And we own 3 units at the Grace Cavea building that are moderate deed-restricted rentals. So So there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
But I bet we're one of the only housing authorities that gets applicants from all over the world who are gay and want to live here because it's a gay and gentle town,
Right.
a civilized town that understands you need workers, you need rich people, you need poor people, you need, like I said, children and older people. So I find that very interesting, and I think we should really represent what we have been in those days where you were sitting beside Norman Mailer and you were sitting beside, I mean, all animals are created equal, right?
Yeah.
I think we really need to embrace that, and we need to embrace it from the gay point of view, in a way, because I get a lot of people who call me. I'm in Tennessee, help! You know,
Right.
and, you know, some people, oh, you can be gay anywhere, but that's just not true,
Right.
right? I walk into town hall, town manager's gay, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't even matter what your sexuality is. I prefer to see it as sort of gentle people.
Right.
So I would like Provincetown to remain a gentle people place, and to me that's understanding. You've got to house a town full of citizens. So that's my little pitch about that.
I love that.
I really do, maybe San Francisco, but I get people calling me. I want to live somewhere where I'm accepted, you know? And as a sort of working class person myself, or middle working class person, you know, I want to live in a town where people are gentle
Right.
as well. So I'd like to see people try to think of the housing issue in that way. You know, if we're going to give away so, you know, David Gardner used to say, plenty of houses, nowhere to live, right? 85% of our housing stock is owned by second homeowners. 85%.
That's a lot.
If we lose it all, if we're at 100% owned by second homeowners, the only housing that will be there is affordable housing.
Right.
And we're really ran out of units. We've hit a wall. There are no units left.
Right.
So there are 266 units on the subsidized housing inventory for Provincetown. So let's say we have 206 plus Harbor Hill. So let's say we have 300 units of safe housing. That's all. Can we run the town with 300 people?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
We're doing a study.
Yeah. So we have all the data we need. Nothing has changed over the years. I've been going to these meetings. You know, you haven't been here that long, but I've been to these meetings already in 2013 and 20. Started in 1997. You know, I would say the beginning of the housing crisis. We've been talking about it for a long time.
Right.
And if hot air built housing, we'd be all set now.
Right.
You know. So it's a very real thing. I think we may have to do a lot of building if we're going to give all of our housing stock to second homeowners or Airbnb or wherever we're going to do.
Right.
We're going to need, you know, and they always say you can't build your way out, but we're going to have to,
Okay.
or partially.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what are the immediate and long-term goals of the Housing Authority?
So right now, we purchased a piece of land right beside, we own 42, 44, and 46 Harry Kemp Way. We just purchased 46 Harry Kemp Way, and we're going to put 30 bedrooms of supported housing there. And supported housing means people who need a little more help. They aren't nursing up, they're just people who need help. They're people who have disabilities, they're people who have other needs. I'd like to make them all accessible units because we have very few accessible units in Provincetown. And, you know, as people live longer and the push is to do community care and all of that, you know, our town is not very accessible, by the way. We could do much better in that.
Yeah.
And we got more and more people on wheels because wheels have become more accessible.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, so we're hoping to do that. And we own 2 acres on that property, so we may talk about redeveloping that property. So the senior building's 24 one-bedrooms. We could make it 60 bedrooms.
Or you could redo that building?
I mean, it was built in 1986. George Bryant, who I don't know if you knew, rest in peace. Jan Kelly, who is still around. Nora Welsh. They were the people who really said to the state, we need senior housing in Provincetown. They were ahead of their time. By the way, everyone was against it. The select were against it, everybody was against it, but we're very grateful that we have the housing, you know. Housing.
Who was on the select board in the mid-'80s?
Same people that are, you know, I think that people just don't want to believe that we need housing, and we do. You know, and if we're not going to stop, you know, rampant capitalism from taking all the housing stock from our town, we just have to find a way to do it.
Right.
And it's all about money.
Yeah.
So the VFW is $40 million project, right? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
As I was saying to Austin earlier, if you amortize that over 40 years, though, it's only $14,000 a unit, right? So start to think about it differently.
Right,
It
right.
sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
Right.
But it's what stands between us and being okay with everything.
Right.
Like my pockets, you know. I mean, so really, I'm really hoping, and I'm seeing and encouraged by the fact that people are starting to recognize this.
Yeah.
You know, they really, really are. So I think I might have lost track.
Where
now.
does the funding for the Provincetown Housing Authority come from?
Oh, so interesting. Subsidized housing, which is state subsidized housing, you collect your rents and then you have your operating costs. And your subsidy is the difference between those two numbers. So everybody pays 30% of their income, or 27, depending on whether they pay utilities. And then whatever that gap is, that's what you fund with the subsidy. Our subsidy for the Housing Authority is about $35,000 a year. It's not that much. I always say, you know, with a pickle bucket on Commercial Street on July 4th, I could raise our subsidy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but then they also help with capital improvements, and they just put a $450,000 septic system into Mo Shop. Happily trade for a sewer, because instead of building 15 units with a septic system, we can build 30 bedrooms
Right.
with a sewer. So we're hoping that's going to come down the line as
Great.
soon as possible.
Awesome.
And then we'll build our units, you know. VFW is amazing. All the
Yeah.
efforts are amazing. The work that's being done lately, having been on these committees hour after hour after hour for 15 years, I see real progress.
Great.
So
We love
even
to
though
hear
it's
that.
frustrating, and I think the frustration that happened at town meeting is about your friends that have to leave town.
Yeah.
And that can't work at the Crown.
Right.
Or work at
Outer
Outer
Cape,
Cape Health,
yeah.
or work at Seashore Point, you know. So my question, which I've never really gotten answered, is how many people work at Town Hall? How many people work for the DPW? How many people work at Center for Coastal Studies? Outer Cape, Seashore Point, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They don't all have to live here, but I think we need 1,000 units of community housing. We
Yeah.
should call it community housing, because that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Right.
Well,
What
we
else?
just want to thank you for everything that you're doing to advocate for housing and for making some time to come and talk to us.
Yeah.
Oh, are we done?
Yeah. We go. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
See you all. Give money for housing.
Money
Yes.
for housing.
$300 million, please.
Please.
Oh, in my pocket.
Yeah.
So listen, I got a chance to talk to Katie Ledoux and Carol Kambar, who are the new managers of the Underground Bar in Provincetown, and I had a great time with them like I always do. Check this out. Good morning, everybody. I'm hanging out with my friends Carol Kambar and Katie Ledoux, who just started running the Underground together. When did you guys take over? What's going on? How
We
did this
started,
happen?
well, my friend Bobby, who and Benna, who own it, bought the brew house down the street, and it's just too much for them. So we've stepped in and are starting to take over the operations. We started New Year's weekend, and we've been doing just weekends up until this point. Starting after this weekend, actually, we're gonna go 7 nights, so that's exciting and scary because now it means it's summer, right? But yeah, it's been fun.
You guys might know Carol from the Shell Shop.
Show.
Give her a little. There you go. And
She
you-
got her plug in.
And you might remember Katie from at Life, just everywhere for the last 30 years. Like, what
Yeah.
haven't you worked?
I don't know, town hall?
Yeah.
No thanks.
When did you first come to town?
96.
96. And you really have worked in almost.
I have worked many places. Yes. Yeah.
So what else are you doing besides this right now?
I started my dog walking business back up. It kind of got ruined by COVID. and that's about it. I'm doing some hours of the yard arm, which I love. It's kind of like being in a bar, but I don't have to be up late at night anymore. Like people come in and get their drinks before they're drunk, so it's actually a little more fun for me.
Are you going to be doing any shifts in here?
No. No, I don't think so. It's don't ask Carol. The goal is really to be able to just have it run itself. We've got Shannon Murdoch, who's fabulous and also a little mean, so she's kind of taking my place.
That's the best combination, fabulous and a little mean.
And she's actually so she's gonna be our main person, and then we've got some other great townies coming in to work. Bob might do an appearance, but we've got to check with Peter first.
We've got to check with Sean Burke first.
But we're trying to change it up. It was always the People's Bar. It was always that place. We kind of, there's a lot of places in town, but our identity down here is really like everybody. Everybody's coming down. We've got people playing pool. We've been doing some open mic. We had solo performers like Lucy Little Bacon, who works at the pharmacy, who's so shy and sweet, and then she did her own solo show. DJs, Ed Macree's been down here, James Cern, Lizzie's kind of, she's been around forever, she's coming back. So we're just trying to, air hockey has been a big hit.
Trevor McCullough.
Amazing somehow.
I mean, who
He's a
knows?
savant.
He's like a bully at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun clubhouse, and it's all ages. We've had men and women, and young and old,
straight,
everybody.
every culture, doesn't matter.
Is this your first experience running a bar?
Yes. I've worked in bars when I was a kid.
She loves to say, but back when I bartended, like in
Back
the
in the
80s.
80s, when there were no computers and no keeping track of anything, I made a lot of money. But now, now I'm on the other side,
Right.
keeping track of every ounce of Jägermeister.
Well,
Much to Shannon's dismay.
The first weekend that you guys opened, and I came in to say hi, Carol was standing behind the bar like this, and I was like, Carol, smile. And she goes, I'm security tonight, I'm not tending bar. And I was like, oh.
We're kind of that yin and the yang.
Right.
She buys the Jägermeister and I drink it.
That's Yang, is technically Jaeger.
Yes.
The dark side of the...
No, but we're a good partnership because she's all about business and I'm all about fun. So we kind of meet in the middle. So we're hoping to be. It's been really great. The town's really come out and supported us, and we're hoping as everybody's coming back in, it'll be even more.
Yeah, just these first couple of weeks, the vibe in here has been really, really just like loving, friendly community vibe. Like you said, every type of person.
Yeah.
Like Jamaican guys playing pool, straight and gay people dancing. That one night, remember when there was like 20 shirtless guys in here?
Oh my God, it was like the A house. It was
Yeah,
like
it was
Shannon's calling me.
so-
She's like, I don't know what's happening, but that's kind of what we're digging. Like I have a young Jamaican kid who's. I'm having a hard time getting Jamaican DJs. So if there's anybody out there that knows anybody, we're looking for someone for sure. And then, but we've got this young Bulgarian kid. We're just trying to make something for everybody.
Right.
And then whoever is getting out of work and you want to come down and have a drink before you hit the A house or whatever, it's friendly and warm and except for Carol behind the bar. No, it's a fun hangout spot,
Right.
Yeah, so yeah.
And so starting this weekend, April 8th and 9th, you're going 7 days a week.
Yeah.
What's the schedule? What time do you open?
We open at 6, and then the entertainment stuff. Usually, if it's live music, it's going to start about 8, and then DJs usually start at 9 or 10. It's social media. We also have a marquee upstairs that we're trying to keep. We'll get better at it, but social media and word of mouth, and I think it's going to be
It's
fun.
been great.
Thank you for
We
carrying
appreciate
the
it.
torch. 2 beloved pillars of the community, carrying on an iconic Provincetown space so that we can all come down here and have fun this year. Come and say hi to Katie and Carol, even if she looks like this. She won't.
I'll be like this.
Thanks for taking some time to chat with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
I'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
So get down there to the underground, say hi to Katie and Carol, and tonight you can even see one of my favorite musicians, Angelo, who's here to play a song for everybody that speaks to our times. Thank you for being here. Take it away.
Come gather around people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, except that it's soon drenched to the bone. Your time to you is worth saving. Better start swimming or you'll sink like size with your pen. Keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. Don't speak too soon, the wheel's still in spin. There's no telling who it's naming. Losing now will be later to win. The times that are changing. Come select board, town manager, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't lock up the hall. For he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. There's a battle outside and it's raging. Soon shake your windows and rattle your walls. Times they are changing. Come mothers and fathers throughout the land. You don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Just get out of the one if you can't lend your hand. Times that are changing. The line it is strong, the crest it is cast. The slow on now, the later be fast. The present now, the later be past. Your order is rapidly fading. The first one now will later be last. Times they are changing.
Thank you for that.
Well, where are you playing tonight?
I'm actually playing at the Underground, so for Katie and Carol at 8 p.m.
With
with Miss Lucy Lil Bacon.
Excellent.
Which I'm really excited. We did it a couple weeks ago and it went fantastic, and we're gonna do it again. We got the band back together.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And where else can everybody else see you?
You know, it's like the season's just starting. I play a lot on the street and really enjoy it that way. It's pretty free.
And you've played with Chris Wilcox and those guys.
Play with Chris, play with Will Harrington. I'll probably be playing at the OC, the Underground, the Bradford, hopefully, and yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so
I love
much.
that song. I love that version of that song. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
See this guy, give him a hand and a $10 bill. Who do we have here, Harrison?
We have Austin Miller ahead of his run for select board. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
So what's the impetus for you trying to throw yourself into this snake pit?
How long have you been in P-Town? What brought you here?
Oh, yeah, that
What have you been up to?
Yeah. So first and foremost, as a child of the San Francisco Bay Area, I was very sad to hear Epiclena's passing. Her Golden Girls Christmas show was actually the first drag show I took my family to.
No way.
So I
love
hope
that.
they continue that tradition.
But yeah, my name's Austin Miller, and I'm running for select board because I believe that housing insecurity is community insecurity. And it's something that, you know, since I washed ashore a few years ago, I've been on the inside of town government through the town's housing boards, working to solve, and I hope that, you know, come the election on May 9th, I can, you know, be able to continue to chip away at that problem from on the select board.
And which boards do you sit on now?
So right now, I'm the vice chair of the Community Housing Council, which I actually started serving on with Kristen when she was the chair. And then I'm also the vice chair of the year-round Margaret Rental Housing Trust. So between the two of those, Community Housing Council, they're the stewards of the Town's Affordable Housing Trust Fund and focus on those at 80% area median income and lower. And then the year-round Margaret Rental Housing Trust is something that's unique to Provincetown, focusing on those between 80% and 100% AMI to, you know, address the gap that we have in housing in that area.
No, that's really important because Alex touched on this a little last week, but there's this weird gap here because affordable housing, I think income limit is $70,000 a year-ish.
It depends on the program,
Okay.
and there are different ways to calculate it too. So if you're getting money from the state through CPA funds or the Community Preservation Act funds, they have a different calculation, and it can go up to 100%. Versus if you're getting money through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, those go up to 80%, and it's of course a different income calculation too.
Gotcha. But then there's like this huge gap between that and like home ownership and like a lot of rental prices. So like the median income thing is great because there's a weird gap here in Provincetown because of the disparity in incomes.
Exactly, it's a unique or somewhat unique problem to Provincetown, and our representatives on Beacon Hill represent that or understand that, and that's why they passed the year-round Margaret Reynolds Housing Trust, so that we actually have a body in town, a trust fund that's responsible for helping to close that gap.
That's great.
You live in town?
I do.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, I'm a full-time resident here in Provincetown, and in my day job, I'm a compliance officer. I've focused for years in my career on protecting the interests of consumers in financial transactions, making sure that they understand kind of the terms and conditions. And today I work for a bank helping people go green and install solar panels on their homes. And when I first moved here, heard from a lot of people that housing was a big issue. It was one that I've had experience with in my career, and I thought that I could help by joining these boards and really dive into the deep end of that problem. And anyone who knows me well will say that I'm a big time nerd, policy nerd, and like to focus on really the details of solving these problems. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done on that issue over the past few years. One of the really positive elements to me about town meeting this past Monday was that we finally fulfilled our $3 million local commitment to funding the 3 Jerome Smith housing development, which I had served on the RFP review committee to select the developer for that project. Also, as vice chair of the Community Housing Council, we also gave a $750,000 grant to that project, so I'm really excited to see that we had almost unanimous support from the town meeting body to help that move forward.
When do you anticipate shovels to go in the ground on that?
I believe, and this is all dependent on the state funding cycle and whether we are able to qualify for funds, but I believe that's going to start in early 2024. But a big part of the state agreeing to funding is that local commitment. And there's something that I don't think we should take for granted here in Provincetown, which is that when it comes to things like supporting the VFW project, we have almost unanimous commitment from our voters, and that's not something that you see in a lot of jurisdictions around the country, and that's really important.
Great. Like Bob mentioned earlier, the snake pit, what made you want to jump from working on these boards to the select board?
Well, so in addition to getting in the details of all the elements on those 2 boards that I talked about, we have a couple other major issues that I think need to be focused on from the select board level. So in addition to working on our zoning codes and working on all the million different solutions that it will take to solve the complex problem of housing, we also have an impending water crisis where we only have we live on a single source aquifer here on Cape Cod. We only have one place to get our water, and in the coming few years we'll be running up against the limit of the permits through the Environmental Protection Agency to pull that water, which would effectively stop development. And so we need to work closely with the select board of Truro as well, which is where we get our water through the Pamet lens under Truro, and figure out how we're going to continue to be able to allocate more water gallons through growth management to development of affordable and community housing going forward. And then, we also have issues with our support staff in town. Also on the ballot, May 9th is funding for building out our EMS staff, so emergency medical services, which we need to work on solving over the next 3 years, which is the extension of our contract that we got with that service. And that's interrelated with housing too. I mean, I was also talking last night with a friend of mine who works at the Center for Coastal Studies, and I hear from them often that they have a lot of really important environmental work that they do that needs to get done, and the biggest barrier for them to be able to bring people in is housing.
Right.
And most of the people who work there now live up Cape, because there's just not an ability to find housing for folks who are really integral parts of our community.
I mean, I'm always surprised, or not really surprised. Every time I go to town meeting, I'm like, of the 500 people there, I'm like, oh, I've never seen 300 of these people. So like, you're in terms of like getting to know a lot of these voters. Like, are you able to access them? Who are you meeting? Are you knocking on doors?
Yes, I have been out there furiously setting up coffee dates and trying to hear from the different stakeholders in town and sort of figure out what's important to them, what are they hearing on the ground, and hoping to set up a meet and greet sometime in the coming weeks, which I'll be advertising on my Facebook page that I have Austin Miller for Select Board. And follow along there for updates, and as always, reach out to me too if you want to have a conversation.
Where would we typically find you? Where's your spot to go to in P-Town?
Where's your main hang?
Yeah.
Who?
Are you a tea kind of girl?
I definitely am a common element at tea, and in fact, it's funny. Last year. We were waiting for the longest time for the legislature to pass the reallocation of the rooms tax funds towards housing, and so I remember running into Julian's here at T, and that was like one of the first questions I asked him: when are we going to pass this legislation so we can fund our housing trust? But no, beyond that, I live on the West End, so I love to go to Red Inn, and Harbor Lounge is one of my favorite spots, and of course, the best and one of the only places I think to get sushi in town at Max. I hang out there often too. So
nice. Take a look at this face. If you see him in town, ask him any questions you have for select candidate Austin Miller. Also, you'll be participating in the Candidates Forum on April 27th.
Yes, I will.
Sponsored by the Provincetown Independent, and you're going to be asking the questions, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I have to work.
Bummer. So one final question. What do you think makes you uniquely qualified to be the person for the Select Board?
I think that for me, I'm an incredibly details-oriented person who really likes to dig in and solve problems. And like I said, the housing problem is one that has taken us years to get into. And coming from, for me, the San Francisco Bay Area, their housing crisis has gone unresolved and unaddressed in a meaningful way for so many years that it's actually become a homelessness crisis now. And the state is having to step in and take away local control for zoning in order to generate the creation of more housing. And so, that was an experience for me growing up that I knew I could never afford to live in the place that I grew up. And I don't want us to get to that point. I think that the community is behind, getting solutions, and I think because it is such a complex problem, there will be 100+ simple solutions to it, and that's one that I am willing and ready to dive into resolving.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming in this morning and chatting with us.
Thank you.
And thanks for entering the fray.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good luck. Thank you to all our viewers at home for watching, and also thank you to our sponsors, the Provincetown Brewing Company, Crown and Anchor, the Boat Slip, the Provincetown Business Guild, and Shipwreck at the Brass Key.
Thanks for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
And we'll see you next Friday. Happy Easter, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. In Provincetown.